Tonight on the Conscious Resistance, we'll be talking about community defense alternatives to the police state, the growing dangers of pesticide use around the world, and what's happening in Israel and Palestine. Also, we'll be showing you a new video from my bike tour and find out what happens when you hit the streets and wave an American flag upside down. Stay tuned.
Got me wondering how I got into this mix.
First off tonight, let's get into what's happening in Mexico, specifically in the state of Michoacan. It's no news to anybody that the drug war and the drug cartels, which are often supported by the United States government through operations like Operation Fast and Furious, spreading guns and weapons down there to these dangerous cartels. Violence has erupted along the border of the United States and Mexico, and along with that, corruption has exploded. The Mexican government, there are large parts of their country that they really can't control and they don't even bother going into, where the communities are left to defend themselves. And that's exactly what has happened. Since 2006, there's been an explosion of violence related to drug cartels, and a number of communities have decided to take up arms and form autodefensas, which are basically self-defense community squads that will take up arms or whatever weapons they can and defend themselves against the dangerous cartels. Now, this has received international media attention in the past year because in 2013 in Michoacan, a number of the communities actually took over their towns. They kicked out police, they kicked out corrupt government officials, started just taking care of themselves. The cartels fought back. There's been a number of battles between the community defense and the cartels, and in some cases, the government accuses the community defense alternatives of actually being part of the cartels and just re-infiltrating. What I want to look at tonight is if this offers us a possible alternative to the growing police state here in the United States. Now, what's happened in Michoacan has come as a result of poverty, the government not being able to help out, violence, and corruption. In the United States, we have similar problems, but they're not so over rampant where people are necessarily ready to take up arms and push out the police or the government officials. But there are some places in the United States where this might actually work. And looking forward at possible economic downturn, economic collapse, and also recognizing the militarization of the police that's happening in this state, it might be worth looking at. So in Detroit, one group has been around for the last 20 years, started out as a self-defense training center, a bodyguard training center. It's known as Detroit Threat Management, and the bodyguards are known as Vipers. They have actually been able to provide a service to the people of Detroit that the Detroit Police Department has been unavailable to do. Detroit Police Department got a lot of crap for having response times, emergency response times, as long as 58 minutes. Whenever seconds count, police are only minutes away. In this case, they're hours away. Now, while Detroit PD struggles to protect its city from violence and criminals that are all over the place now, Detroit Threat Management has stepped in and been able to offer services, sometimes free services, to the most poor in the city who can't even afford it, including protecting domestic violence victims from harm, walking old ladies to their cars, all kinds of things. They say that they have large corporate clients that they do bodyguard work for, and it allows them to offer lower prices to the community, and that is their main aim. And in Mexico, it's coming out of a response to the violence and out of a necessity. And Detroit, it's also coming out of a necessity where the people are able to offer an alternative. And the positive thing about this is that the Detroit police chief has actually encouraged more people to start taking up self-defense and to arm themselves. And he says he's not encouraging vigilantism, but what he's encouraging is to people to not be victims. So this is a positive thing that's coming out of a negative situation. In Mexico, in the town of Cherán, we have an example of indigenous resistance, indigenous community defense that could possibly work for us in the United States. In Cherán, they have come together to push off the cartels who have been coming in and logging their forests, illegally logging their forests, and they were getting no help from the government, so they initially were fighting them off with sticks and throwing stones at them. There was old ladies who were part of the community defense, but now over the past couple of years it's evolved to where they have, younger men and women who are standing guard around the forest and trying to keep anyone out there. And the great thing about this, and the way that this can work to our advantage, is they are actually subordinate to the community. So the community comes together and they make decisions. Everybody has a voice and they make decisions, and the police, the community defense, listens to them. So their structure is actually completely opposite of what we typically see in the United States and in most countries around the world, where the police have this upper hand and the police are seen as superior to the average person. I believe what's happening in Detroit with Detroit threat management and what's happening in Mexico with the indigenous communities deciding to take up arms and to defend themselves, and specifically to use older models of this. They're not just running rampant. There's definitely going to be some crime and some problems. This is not a perfect situation. Last week we talked about water privatization. This week we're talking about privatizing the police force. And many people who fear privatization of the police forces think that it's just going to end up being a bunch of armed gangs competing. We sort of already have that. We have the government and we have this armed gang that dresses in blue or black depending on your city, and they can come into your home, they can shoot your dogs, they can shoot you, they can beat you on the street, they can pull out shotguns on you, they can arrest you illegally, they can plant drugs on you, they can rape you, they can do all kinds of things, and very rarely are they given punishments. I mean, these officers here in Houston where I'm at, officers kill people and get away with it. As in Detroit, if your funding and your money is dependent on the people and dependent on the way that you treat them, then you're going to treat them better, because people won't pay for Detroit threat management services if they don't feel safer. They have made the city feel safer. The police are actually encouraging them. They've received awards from city council. In Mexico, I believe that we can take some of the examples they have there of how indigenous communities have learned to work together and to have smaller communities and to have a form of governance that allows each individual to have a voice and defend our communities better. Whether or not you believe in privatization of the police force, it's obvious that we need to seek solutions now, because the police in this country are becoming more and more militarized every single day that passes, and it's not going to stop unless we find a solution. So guess what? Apparently, when you add poison to plants and you eat it, it makes you sick. Apparently, when you spray poison on plants indiscriminately, birds, earthworms, insects, bees, they eat it and it causes them to die. Who would have guessed? I'd like to talk about the rise of a class of pesticides which is known as neonicotinoids. Let me make sure I said that right. Neonicotinoids. Neonics for short. I just wrote an article for benswan.com that you can find there that talks about two recent studies that have come out. One dealing specifically with bird populations in Denmark, and another one which is apparently the most comprehensive study ever done. In the past 5 years, 29 different scientists from 4 different continents studied 800 different studies on the use of these pesticides, and what they found is pretty alarming. They found that not only are the honeybee populations being affected because these pesticides have been linked to messing up their navigational skills, causing the bees to just fly around all crazy and to not be able to pollinate and to eventually die. They also found that it affects earthworms. It affects their ability to tunnel, so the earthworms start tunneling in all kind of crazy directions. The bird population, they speculate and they have correlations that show that the pesticides are getting into the groundwater, animals are drinking the water, and it's also affecting the insect population, which then the birds are going and grabbing the insects and they're either eating themselves or feeding them to their young, which is causing the population to decline. They also found that it affects reptiles, amphibians. Although they couldn't directly say that it affects humans, I mean, it's pretty obvious that if we are eating these crops that are being sprayed with the neonics, then it's likely affecting us. Last year, the European Union ordered a 2-year moratorium ban on the pesticides while they studied them. Companies like Syngenta and Monsanto, who not only produce the genetically modified food that is made to be used with these pesticides, but they also produce the pesticides themselves. So Syngenta is seeking an emergency exemption from the ban, asking the European Union, the UK specifically, to allow them to spray it on a number of crops that they say are going to die without these pesticides. The study specifically warned governments around the world that we need to start bringing down our use of this. We need to start scaling back on this or have outright ban. I'm not for government. I'm not for banning things. I typically try to find solutions that don't involve the use of force and government. Unfortunately, though, there are some things that we seem to discover or create that are so dangerous to our world that they literally are killing us and killing off the entire environment. And the scientists warn that these crops, I mean, the bees, all these animals, all these insects, they're highly important to our existence. Albert Einstein is famous for saying that, you know, humans would only last 4 years if the bees died off. Even beyond that, even if these animals were not essential to our survival as humans, it's just a sad thing to think that our existence is causing the death of so many other species. And I don't want to be a collectivist here, because I know that I'm not using these pesticides. I don't know if you are, and I hope that you're choosing to go organic or to grow your own food, pesticide free. But these companies, Syngenta, Monsanto, and the other companies that are involved in this, that are working with governments around the world to push their genetically modified food and to push their pesticides, are causing the death of this planet. Even if I'm against banning substances, there are some things that have been banned in the past that probably saved a lot of lives, DDT being one of them. And the study found the neonics are actually up to 5,000 times stronger and more deadly to the bee population than DDT was. And DDT was banned, I think, in the 70s for all the problems it was causing. One of the most disturbing things they found in the study is that once the neonics are sprayed on the plants and get into the soil and into the water, they metabolize and they break down. And they found that the compounds that are created after the metabolization are actually 10 times stronger than the original chemical itself. Not only is it dangerous because it's being sprayed on our food, and if you're eating that food, that's obviously going to have an effect on you. It's affecting the bee population, the butterfly population, birds, earthworms, reptiles, and all kinds of other animals. But it's going into the ground, it's going into the water, and it's getting stronger, and it's going to stay there. They said that it's a cumulative effect, so over time it's going to build up and build up if they keep spraying this. So what is the solution here? I don't like to bring bad news, I like to bring awareness up, but we have to find a way to get past this. The only thing that I can currently think about, outside of calling for governmental action, is for us to stop feeding this massive biotechnology industrial farming complex. So what does that mean? It means stop buying food that is being sprayed with pesticides. Stop supporting that industry. Start growing your own food. Start supporting community gardens and community farms or independent farmers who don't use pesticides, and spread awareness. Last week I showed you my first video from my bike tour that I took beginning at the end of April, beginning of May. Things were starting to get a little bit rough, and the roughness continued, so check this out. It's Saturday, May 3rd, I believe, and I am having a rough time because I think I somewhat underestimated how quick I could get out of Texas. I've done this before, and if it wasn't for the date of trying to get to California by May 10th, then I think I wouldn't be worried about it so much. But there are some serious concerns that I'm dealing with right now that I guess I should let you be aware of just for posterity. I'm between, I left just outside of Kerrville yesterday, got close to Junction but had a flat tire at the end of the day, so I decided to stop and just pull over and set up camp. I've been having some trouble with my back tire. I really don't think the back tire that I was given for this one is adequate enough for this trip, especially comparatively to the other one I have. This guy looks more like a racing tire, and you probably can't see it on film, but some of the threads are starting to show. more on this side right there, and right there, which is not a good sign when I still got miles and miles ahead. But this morning I woke up, I fixed the flat tire, got going. Still not to junction, it's been slow moving. I'm having to ride on the side of I-10 and it's pretty shitty. I got 2 flat tires just now, both front and back tires. I had to fix them. There was just tiny little things stabbing through there, staples and things like that. Stop throwing your trash out the window! But the staples got me, and I am out of all my new tubes. There is still one new tube I have, and for some reason, no matter what I do, it won't air up. There's something wrong with the stem. And yeah, maybe if I was at home, I could take it back to the store and get a new one. But out here, I'm kind of fucked. So luckily, I brought some backup tubes that just need to be patched. And both the tubes that are in here, I've just patched, and I think they're good. I've aired them both up. They seem to be holding up well. And I'm also going to be switching the back tire to the front and the front tire to the back so that I can have that more heavy duty one in the back where I've got more weight, and see how that works out. And getting ready to head back on the road, see if I can make it to junction tonight. My next bet is to figure out where a bike shop is so I can replace this other tire, because if today doesn't fix it, then it's definitely not going to get me to LA. I'm also having some issues with my back rack fucking being loose, and I think that's putting some extra pressure on the backside. And both my brakes are not working because I'm not good with brakes, and once I take the tire off, generally when I try to put it back on, it's too tight and it's rubbing. So I decided to ride without them because I don't want to go slow. I'd rather move fast and use my feet and not slow down than to be rubbing all day and wearing down my brakes and not getting anywhere. So that's the situation I'm dealing with. Feeling frustrated, feeling alive. I'm covered in dirt and I smell like shit. I've ran out of all my food except for some superfood bars that I made before I left. I've got chia seeds. I've got a couple more freeze-dried stuff, which brings me up to my next problem. Running low on food. In between towns, that's usually not a problem because I can refuel on food. I can get more food from the towns. I brought all kinds of stuff and I've been eating it. It's been 3 days I've been eating it, and also to try to loosen weight. Now, the one problem that is really outside of the bike tires and the running low on food, I'm about 30 or 40 miles away from the next town. I've got 2 water bottles and 32 ounces or 1 liter worth of water left. And that's all I've got left. So I'm hoping I can make it to this town tonight and refuel on water. I'm going to be moving as fast but as steady as I can so I don't overexert myself. I'll probably be walking up all the hills instead of trying to ride them and getting more tired and having to chug down the water. Because if I don't get to this next town and refuel, then it could get pretty dicey here. So I'm going to smoke a bowl, relax in the nature, make sure my tires are both aired up, put all my shit back on the bike, and then head out of here. I'll talk to you guys soon. Oh yeah, never underestimate the importance of chapstick. The last topic for tonight I'd like to talk about is Israel and Palestine. Now, I'm not going to even pretend that I fully understand and have studied the complexities of this situation, but what I do know is that it goes back to World War II. It goes back to a time when the people of Israel were granted a new state in the middle of someone else's homeland. And this has caused constant conflict and fighting and wars between both sides. But what I also know about the situation is that in the United States of America, you're pretty much expected to support Israel if you want to be a good patriot and you love Uncle Sam and Santa Claus and all that stuff. You're expected to support Israel blindly. To speak against Israel is seen as being anti-Semitic or un-American. In the past couple weeks, there have been a number of kidnappings in Palestine of Palestinian kids. One boy was even found burned alive, and this caused massive protests after his funeral. The Israeli police started firing gas, rubber bullets, and attacking the Palestinian protesters. Since then, it's exploded literally into massive attacks coming from Israel. Just this morning, the LA Times reported that there was a ground raid on Gaza from Israel, and I think that the death toll is somewhere near 181 people now. What I want to focus on, though, is how the media continues to lie and portray this as a one-sided conflict. The people of Palestine are defending themselves, and I'm sure there's good people on Israel's side as well who are just defending themselves. As one of my friends tells me, the government and the leaders of Israel are not the same as the biblical Israel that many Christians think they need to support. It's a completely different machine. And now some people refer to it as Zionism. The Zionists of Israel are seeking to eradicate the Palestinian people, and they definitely, without a doubt, have heavy influence on the United States and many nations around the world. It's seen as an unpopular act to criticize. And because of this, the United States media completely portrays this as the Israelis having to defend themselves from the dangerous, violent Palestinians and the Hamas government. Abby Martin recently on RT did a great job of showing how the old stream media completely lies and twists things.
We take you overseas now to the rockets raining down on Israel today as Israel tried to shoot them out of the sky. All part of the tinderbox, Israelis and Palestinians, and here an Israeli family trying to salvage what they can. One woman standing speechless among the ruins.
See, the only problem with this broadcast was that the photos Sawyer showed of bombed out buildings and Israeli families trying to salvage the remnants of their homes were actually Palestinians in Gaza City. Now, thankfully, there's been so much outrage over this egregious mistake that ABC has already issued an apology online and claims that it will make another one on air. But how many people will see the correction?
So again, it's important to remember that the old stream media is trying to feed us a narrative which is going to feed into the overall propaganda. If you support the United States, then you'll support Israel and you'll support blind aggression, and you won't call any of Israel's actions into question. Obviously, that's a farce. You should question the United States government. You should question the Israeli government. You should question the Palestinian government. You should question everything, and you should seek truth and find answers in your own way. These examples that Abby showed of the media portraying and lying about events, these are just a tiny, tiny sample of what they do and how they can formulate public opinion. It's important to remember that. On both sides of this conflict are beautiful, amazing, free people who are just seeking to find their own happiness and their own freedom, and they're caught up in the middle of a bullshit conflict that they have nothing to do with. We have to remember that. So when you're trying to take sides, remember that there's good people on all fronts. It's not all bad Israelis, it's not all bad Palestinians, it's not all bad Americans or any other country. There's good people all around the world who are just trying to find a way to survive through this madness. This weekend I went out to a busy intersection here in Katy, Texas, which is just outside of Houston, Texas, and I was waving an upside down flag. I specifically went out there to try to get people engaged in conversation. Now, I knew this was going to upset some people, and I was sort of expecting to be confronted, and that's exactly what happened. Hey, this is Derrick Bros, and I am out here in Katy, Texas, just west of Houston, Texas, on a corner, pretty busy intersection here. And today I'm gonna wave around an upside down flag. I didn't even know the United States had a flag code, but according to Section 8 of the United States Flag Code, the flag should never be displayed with the Union down, except as a signal of dire distress in instances of extreme danger to life or property. So basically, I'm here to wave the flag around, hopefully provoke conversation. Hopefully I won't get beat up by some crazy nationalistic extreme patriots, and hopefully we can talk to some people about why the country is in distress and what they think we can do about it. Check it out. go to this corner. Let's go to this corner over here. How you doing? Hey man, what you guys think about the upside down flag? What is it? Does it mean anything to you? It being upside down? Huh?
That you don't like your country?
Oh, not at all, not at all. Have you ever heard of the United States flag code?
No.
Look it up, man, check it out. Look up why it's upside down. Well, that was one close interaction. I think it is. Yeah, I think we got our first action. How's it going, brother? What's that?
Why are you flying the flag upside down?
Have you ever heard of the United States flag code?
Don't fly the flag upside down.
Please don't grab anything for me, man. You don't have to do that.
Don't fly.
Have you ever heard of the United States flag
Yeah,
code? Do you
yeah,
know why the
that's
flag's
illegal.
flown upside down?
It's illegal to
Do
fly.
you know
like
why
that.
the flag's flown upside down?
Why is it?
According to Section 8 of the flag code, it should only be flown upside down when the country is in distress.
No.
And if you pay attention to what's going on in the country, then you know.
No, it's illegal
hey,
to fly the
you better
flag upside down.
Get your hands off my property.
It's illegal
brother.
to fly the flag upside down.
You're gonna just take it like that? This is what that's what you think about this country, man?
Hey, I fought for this
That's
fucking
good. Then
country.
you should know the flag code, brother.
I fought for this country.
So you don't know the flag code?
I fought for this country.
Look, I got the flag code written right here if you want it.
I don't care. I fought for this country.
That's great. But do you pay attention to what's going on in the country now?
Yeah, but you
I
can't
have plenty
fly
of friends who are
you
veterans.
can't fly it upside down unless we are in
United
distress.
States, Section 8, United States flag code. Never to be displayed except as a signal of dire stress. The country is in distress. Did you know that we're being spied on by the NSA? Did you know that we're launched in illegal wars?
It doesn't matter.
Do you support the American
That's not-
government?
Yeah.
You truly support this
Yeah,
government right
and
now?
that's illegal.
Supporting your country is different from supporting the
Bye.
government. I'll wait till you give me my
Bye.
flag back, buddy.
Bye.
I'll wait till you give me my flag back.
Get away from
Unless
my
you'd like to, do more violent acts of me on camera, that's fine too,
I don't care.
You don't care?
I don't care.
So what does it mean to support the
Back
country?
up.
You fought for the country, what does
Yeah,
that
I
mean?
did.
Does that mean you blindly
Back the fuck
follow
up.
it, or do you look and see what's happening?
Back up.
I'm just curious, man.
Get away from my car.
I'm just curious, you just took a piece of my property.
Yeah, you're flying the flag upside down.
I just told you why, the specific
I don't care.
reason.
I don't care.
I told you a very
the flag
specific reason. How you
upside
doing,
down.
sir?
And
Because
you're disgracing it.
no, I'm
I
not,
fought
I'm not
in
here to disgrace.
Afghanistan.
I'm here to communicate and
Get
talk
away
to
from
people.
me.
I tried to talk to you
I
and you just
take
stole
that
my
away.
property.
Yeah, I took it
stole my
away
property.
because you're
People
flying
died
it.
for the right
I
for you to hold
understand
that
that.
flag up. Do you really?
Yes.
I don't
Do you
think
know-
they
do you know anything about the
Fucking
United States
friends
flag
that
code, sir?
died in Afghanistan.
I can see you guys are both emotionally upset about this, but
No,
I'm not here to
not
offend
upset.
anybody.
Not upset.
Do you
I
know
just
anything
see
about the United
something-
States flag code?
I know everything what the flag means to me.
Do
I
you
don't
know
care
about the flag
a code.
code? Do you know why the
Put
flag
the
is flown
camera
upside
down.
down?
It's
Get the
illegal.
camera
Do you
out
know
my
why
face.
the flag is flown
Get
upside
the
down?
camera
You guys
out
are
of
coming
my
to me.
face.
I'm standing here in
Out
public
here.
space. I'm ridiculous, sir. Hey, tell me why you blindly support the country. Supporting the country is different from supporting the government. It means the country's in distress. Obviously, you don't know everything about this country. Hey, obviously you don't know jack shit about this country, sir. Because if you did,
because of people like you, young
hey,
men.
I'm here to get people to wake up to what's going on in the country.
We understand what's going on. Everything's
I'm not
not
here to-
perfect, but it's not like every place else.
You're misunderstanding supporting the government with
You
supporting
got
the
your right
country.
to go do what you want to do.
I just had
Good
somebody
luck
come up
to
and
you.
steal my property, and you come up and threaten me.
I didn't threaten you.
Oh, what did you get out of the car for and walk over then? What was the point of that? It's okay. If you want to continue to feel like your patriotism makes you understand what's going on in the
Bye-bye, little
country. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Wait till you're in chains, buddy. That's the kind of response that I get out here from people who don't understand, for one, the United States flag code, which is a silly thing in the first place, but also for not being able to distinguish between the government and what they think is patriotism and this flag. You see what happens when people blindly support this nation and they've been taught to follow it no matter what? They think that a flag is more important than respecting someone else's boundaries, someone else's property. I'm a sovereign citizen and I have free rights just like they do, and this guy wants to come up and grab the flag out of my hand. So that's what you get. We got a lot more work to do. I would like to add to this video that upon looking back at it, I realized that I could have been a bit calmer. Now, it's a little intimidating and an anxiety-filled situation when you have two individuals coming at you and someone snatches something out of your hand. But the video you just saw, I really feel like I can and I have in the past been smoother and calmer with engaging people in conversation. One of the things now looking back that I wish I had done is to try to humanize the situation more and to ask these individuals what their names were even. Obviously they were upset, they were already emotional and didn't really want to talk to me much, but I do feel on my part I could do better, and I plan to do better in the future. So just remember that next time when you go out, if you're dealing with a difficult situation where there's a lot of emotions flaring, that we're trying to work to further the human species. We're trying to further the awakening and to not make it about our own ego trying to be right or wrong here. It's about moving us forward, and I want to engage these people. I don't want to just have a confrontation and get a video and throw it on YouTube. I want to actually spark this conversation and maybe learn from each other. Check out tonight's music artists.
Mother Earth, who can save the world? Will it be the children?
So that's it for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and follow the website, theconsciousresistance.com, throughout the week for new articles and new videos from our other contributors. If you want to find more of my work, you can find my writing at benswan.com, occupy.com, and thelibertybeat.com. Remember going through your week that despite everything that's going on, the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, pesticides poisoning the world, and a militarized police state growing, there is so much that we can do in our personal lives to make ourselves more free. I want to remind you and myself that throughout this week it's important for us to slow down. When you feel yourself starting to get hectic and things are moving too fast, remember to take time to step away, to slow down, to enjoy the sunshine, to smell the flowers, to enjoy the rain, to put your feet and your hands in the grass and the dirt and remind yourself that you are alive, you are a beautiful, free, independent human being, and nobody can stop you. You are not alone. If you can hear this, you are the resistance. Peace.
Smoke and mirrors, concealing a gun. He grew wings and he flew too close to the sun. An iron fist with a velvet glove. He grew wings and he flew too. Smoke and mirrors, concealing a gun. He grew wings and he flew too close to the sun. An iron fist with a velvet glove. He grew wings and he flew too. I'm Solli. Let's get it. Turn the tube on, get the news on, get your suit on, get your shoes on, get a move on, get your moolah, working 2 jobs for a Groupon, that's a coupon for a crouton. Hallelujah, look at do ya, da da do da. Get your chill on, get your real on, get your peace on, get your freak on, get your preach on. I'ma turn the heat on, the song. So hold on, get your roll on in a nose job at a roadblock from a robot with a mohawk and some Botox, and I won't stop till the flow stop, cause I go off like a cobra or a boa constrictor. Mister, Solli, can you paint us all a picture? Yes sir, princess in a pink dress with an interest and some incest with an insect from the Midwest, defenseless to the business like a pothead to a piss test or a prophet. When they kiss death or a mosh pit at a kid's set, drop knowledge on a kid's head and the kid says that I'm vintage, but I ain't even begin yet. I'm an underground business, you should invest before you even get dressed. I've done 6 sets in the studio with a stupid flow. Put your hands to the ceiling of the building if you feeling that vibe, feeling that vibe, feeling. Put your hands to the ceiling of the building if you feeling that vibe, feeling that vibe. Smoke and mirrors, concealing a gun. He grew wings and he flew too close to the sun. An iron fist with a velvet glove. He grew wings and he flew too.
What do you think it is, either the biggest threat to our freedom or the one thing that can bring us all together and stop all the craziness?
Love.
Love, the one, that's
Love is the cure for all diseases. And let me tell you something else. The thing that could tear us all apart faster than any other disease